Thank you for joining me. My name is Dhani Irwanto. Since 2015, I have dedicated myself to researching one of the most mysterious lands mentioned in ancient Egyptian texts, the Land of Punt. Today, I invite you to join me on a journey of discovery into history, legend, and evidence that may challenge everything you thought you knew about the ancient world. The Land of Punt, pronounced Puenet or Puin, was a vital trading partner of ancient Egypt. It was known for producing and exporting gold, incense, aromatic resins, ebony, ivory, tortoise shells, and wild animals. Egyptian records refer to Punt as Ta Necher, the land of the gods, or the land of origin. It was seen as a sacred place located to the east, where the sun rises, a place of mystery and great wealth. Our knowledge of Punt comes mainly from Egyptian records of trade expeditions. These were not isolated events, but a tradition stretching across many dynasties, from Khufu in the 26th century BCE to Ramses III in the 12th century BCE. Each expedition was considered a great accomplishment, a triumph of navigation and diplomacy. The most famous expedition to Punt was conducted under Pharaoh Hatshepsut around 1493 BCE. This journey was so important that it was recorded in detail on the walls of her memorial temple at Deir el-Bahari. It provides us with a vivid, almost cinematic view of the people, products, and landscape of Punt. Here we see 5 Egyptian ships arriving on the shores of Punt. The first 2 ships are already anchored, sails down, while 3 others approach, sails billowing in the wind. The anticipation is palpable. Egyptian sailors prepare to make contact with the people of this fabled land. On this slide, the Egyptians have sent out a boat to shore. They are unloading bags and large jars, perhaps food and drink, to be offered as gifts to the chief of Punt. These first exchanges were more than just trade. They were acts of diplomacy, setting the tone for the entire expedition. On shore, we see the unique huts of the Puntites, built on poles with ladders for entry, made of wickerwork and shaded by palm and ebony trees. These stilted houses, designed to protect against wild animals and flooding, are unlike anything found in ancient Egypt. Notice how these details will become important as we investigate Punt's real location. Meet the Puntite chief, Parehu, a tall, well-shaped man with long hair, little facial hair, and a pointed beard on his chin. He wears a loincloth and belt with a dagger and is followed by his wife, sons, and daughter. The Egyptians painted the Puntites a lighter red than themselves, signaling a different, possibly Asian origin. Parehu's wife, Ati, is described as singular in appearance, wearing a yellow dress, jewelry, and a headband. She is shown as obese, with pronounced wrinkles and rolls of skin, perhaps indicating age or a local ideal of status, rather than deformity. The scene continues with a pony, marked as the great pony that carries his wife, and attendants carrying curved weapons. The curved beards of the men are distinctive. The details, ponies, procession, ceremonial garb reflect the unique traditions of Punt. Here, the Egyptians and Puntites engage in an official reception, conducted with great ceremony and respect. Parehu wears a bracing of metal rings on his leg. Such ceremonies show not just trade, but mutual respect and ritual. The tributes, called goods to be exchanged, include gold rings, curved weapons, and a heap of precious incense called anti. Incense was vital in Egyptian religious practice, and securing a supply was the main motivation for these perilous journeys. Incense is shown as irregular lumps, detailed and precious. Parehu's sons, attendants with gold dust, and the pony all participate in the formal presentation of these gifts. Other scenes show huts with dogs, Egyptians harvesting ebony, birds nesting in trees, and even a one-horned rhinoceros. Each detail provides another clue about the true nature of Punt's environment. Egyptian sailors hurry to load saplings, jars, and even animals like macaques onto their ships. The captain issues orders, the decks fill with treasures for the return voyage to Egypt. Half-grown saplings, roots wrapped in earth, are carefully carried to the ships alongside elephants and horses. The Egyptians took live plants and animals home, hoping to cultivate the wonders of Punt in their own land. As some vessels finish loading, others set sail with the wind, ready to return to Egypt and present their precious cargo to the pharaoh. Upon arrival in Thebes, Puntites and Egyptians parade ebony, incense trees, baskets, amphoras, and exotic animals before the queen. These processions were spectacles, reinforcing the success and power of the Egyptian state. In front of the queen, the Puntites kneel and offer gold, leopards, and more. The presence of non-African animals and people is significant, suggesting a much broader reach than previously assumed. In the Garden of Ammon, we see incense trees, ivory, tortoiseshell, short-horned cows, ebony, antimony for dye, gold-silver alloy, and more. The diversity of Punt's products is astonishing and very specific. Some products, like giraffes, longhorned cattle, southern leopards, bows, and ostrich eggs, likely came from Africa or the Upper Nile. This shows that the Egyptians traded widely, but only Punt offered certain unique goods. So, where was Punt? Over the centuries, scholars have placed it everywhere from East Africa to Arabia. But none of these locations fit all the clues, especially the plants, animals, and geography. Let's reconsider. If we look east, across the Indian Ocean, we find Sumatra, a land of gold, incense, exotic trees, and animals. The Egyptians described Punt as across a great sea at the sunrise, by land and sea, an apt description for a voyage to Southeast Asia. Sumatra and nearby islands like Enggano, Mentawai, Nias, and Rajang have ancient, isolated cultures. Some, like the Rajang, even have names linked to Ra Hyang, meaning the abode of the gods, mirroring the Egyptian Ta Necher. These cultures preserve traditions that echo the scenes depicted in Egypt. The houses of Enggano and surrounding islands are stilted, round, and built of wickerwork, just as shown in Egyptian art. Historical photos and descriptions confirm that such houses survived into the 20th century. Betel palm, Areca catechu, is common in Sumatra and Southeast Asia. Its nut, chewed for thousands of years, is a cultural marker found throughout the region. Styrax benzoin, native to Sumatra, yields benzoin resin, called Kemenyan or menyan, used as incense. Chemical analysis confirms its presence in ancient Egyptian ritual materials. Benzoin, known as Javan incense, is linguistically and chemically linked to Anti, the sacred incense the Egyptians sought from Punt. Ancient records and residue analysis prove its use in Egypt as early as 1200 BCE. Ebony, Diosporosis species, are found throughout Indonesia, especially Sumatra. Their dark, dense wood was prized in Egypt, and the trade in ebony is well documented. Cinnamon, tesheps, and cassia, cheset, are harvested from trees grown primarily in Sumatra and Southeast Asia. Indonesia supplies most of the world's cinnamon even today. Camphor, called kapur barus in Malay, comes from Baras, an ancient Sumatran port. It was a vital ingredient in Egyptian embalming fluid, perfumes, and medicines. Ahamtu in Egyptian texts refers to balsam or camphor. Sumatra is rich in both substances,
making it a logical source for Egypt's embalming and religious needs.
Nutmeg oil, found in Hatshepsut's tomb, comes from Myristica fragrans, indigenous to Indonesia's Banda Islands. Both nutmeg and mace were highly prized, unique to the region, and transported across great distances.
Short-horned cows, Bos javanicus, originated in Southeast Asia. They are found in Java, Bali, and Sumatra. Archaeological evidence places these cattle in Egypt during the time of the Punt expeditions. The Puntite pony matches the slender, small Indonesian ponies of Sumatra, Sumba, and Java. Their features differ distinctly from African donkeys or horses, supporting an Asian origin. Pig-tailed macaques, Macaca nemestrina, are found only in Southeast Asia, including Sumatra. The Egyptian records mention macaques, called ono, as a product of Punt. The Javan rhinoceros, Rhinoceros sandaicus, native to Java and Sumatra, appears in Puntite scenes. Africa's rhinoceroses are two-horned, while India's is one-horned, but Southeast Asia is the closest fit for all clues. A jog, or the Asiatic wild dog, is found in Sumatra and Java. Their depiction in Egyptian scenes further strengthens the Southeast Asian connection. The Sunda clouded leopard, Neopheles diardi, is unique to Sumatra and Kalimantan. Again, the Egyptian reliefs match Southeast Asian species rather than African ones. Sumatran and Kalimantan elephants are smaller than their African cousins. Egyptian records mention elephants as products of Punt, another indication pointing east. Bracelets and ornaments made from cow or buffalo horns are common in Sumatra. Neville believes that rhinoceros horns are Puntite products. However, the shape drawn on the colonnade suggests they are more likely cow or buffalo horns, as they could have been used for ornaments and other valuable items. Indonesia is home to a quarter of the world's primate species, many of which match those depicted in Egypt's Punt scenes. Indonesia has an incredible variety of turtles and tortoises. Their shells were highly prized and were traded for centuries. Even the striated frogfish, a tropical species found only in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, appears in Egyptian carvings. This detail is impossible to explain if Punt were in Africa. Sumatra has been called the Island of Gold since ancient times. The Egyptian awesome and osamos closely resemble the Malay word for gold, emos. Ancient gold mines, such as at Lebong Donak, confirm Sumatra's wealth. Obsidian, volcanic glass, was excavated at Wadi Gawasis, Egypt, and is found in volcanic regions like Sumatra. This adds geological evidence to the cultural and botanical clues. Let's now focus on the people themselves. Historic engravings and photographs from Enggano, Nias, and other Sumatran islands show striking similarities with the Puntites of Egyptian art. Longer hair, little facial hair, straight noses, and lighter skin, all characteristics of Mongoloid Malay peoples, match the Puntites' depiction far more closely than Africans. The chief's polite, respectful gestures, bowing, and hand positions are typical of Malay traditions. His name, Parehu, is also found among ancient Ngānese men, as documented by explorers like Modigliani. Ngānese names such as Parauha, Purihio, and Paradua often begin with pa or pu, echoing Parehu. His wife's name, Ati, is a common nickname throughout the Indonesian archipelago. The Puntite men wear loincloths, a belly belt with cloth covering the genitals, mirroring clothing still used on remote Sumatran islands today. The women wear petticoats, painted transparent in Egyptian art, The petticoats, made from tassel of beads or rattan, tied in ways are identical to traditional Anganese attire. This is not artistic license. It's an accurate depiction of Sumatran culture.
Both men and women wear headbands, sometimes made of pig bristles or adorned with feathers, just like those worn by the Anganese and Mentawai today. The Puntite's curled hat matches the mourning hat of Angano, made from pandanus or nipa leaves, resembling a Phrygian cap. Chained bead necklaces, sometimes decorated with nautilus shells, are worn by the chief and his wife, exactly as described by 19th century ethnographers. Bracelets and anklets, often made from woven leaves or akar bahar, sea plants, are worn around the arms and legs. They are still used today as protection against illness and for ornament. The chief's leg is covered by a bracing of rings, a custom found on prehistoric basema stones from South Sumatra, dating back to around 1600 BCE. Photographs of ancient stones, like Batu Gajah and Batu Bergores, confirm the tradition of bracing the legs with rings, a custom unique to this region. The curved weapon, or machete, known as amu in Egyptian records, is called golak or karambit in Indonesia. Anganese daggers and knives are called by similar names, kamai and pakamai. The Rejang term imu for a curved weapon is almost identical to amu. Karambit, karambiak, kamai, these words, weapons, and shapes are distinctively Indonesian. Egyptian records also show products from other lands, such as African giraffes, longhorned cattle, and ostrich eggs. But only Punt provided the unique plants, animals, and artifacts we have discussed. Egyptian literature tells of the Great Chief Serpent, or the Lord of Punt. In Austronesian and Hindu-Buddhist tradition, the word Naga refers to a serpent people, a symbol found across Indonesia, India, and Southeast Asia. Legends in Cambodia, India, and Indonesia recall kingdoms of Nagas, serpent people in the southern seas. The Naga are mentioned in ancient texts, such as the Menemicalai and Salapati-Karam, and are believed to have once inhabited Sumatra and Java. These stories suggest an ancient Austronesian maritime network that connected with the Egyptian idea of a land ruled by a great serpent. Geographically, the Bengkulu coast of southwestern Sumatra is ideal for ancient harbors, protected bays, gentle slopes, and proximity to styrax forests and ancient gold mines. Angano Island, just offshore, preserves much of this ancient culture. Archaeological and environmental evidence indicate that this region best fits the descriptions found in Egyptian records of Punt. The name Punt, pronounced Puenet or Puen, may derive from the ancient settlements of Fensuri or Pinangsori on the west coast of Sumatra. These coastal areas are perfect for ancient anchoring, with bays, protective islands, and gently sloping beaches. Arab geographers later referred to Fensur and Barus as sources of the world's highest quality camphor, benzoin, and gold, matching exactly what Egypt sought from Punt. Archaeological evidence in Pinangsori includes ancient coins and ceramics, proving it was a global trading hub. For those interested in exploring further, more details are available on my website and in my published book. The evidence for Sumatra as the land of Punt is robust, spanning history, linguistics, archaeology, botany, and living tradition. This research not only clarifies the mystery of Punt, but also helps us appreciate the deep connections between ancient Egypt and Southeast Asia. I would like to acknowledge the many scholars, explorers, and communities whose research and oral traditions have helped bring the story of Punt to light. Thank you for your attention and curiosity. If you would like more information or wish to continue the discussion, please feel free to visit my website or reach out to me directly.